assuming that there's volleyball here. $4.13 out.
Well, good morning. It is good to have you here this morning. I'm going to figure out here what's going on with our video, which is not so. There we go. So good morning. I'm Pastor Jackie Thone. It is good to have you here with us this morning for worship on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. I know we got a little rainy weather here, but it is still good to gather with you this morning as we gather together with our friends throughout the Minneapolis area synod to worship together today. So you'll hear more about that in just a minute. But as many of you have most likely heard by now, yesterday the governor gave the okay for churches to worship at 25% capacity starting this Wednesday. However, just because we can worship together doesn't necessarily mean that we should. There is certainly more to this decision than what is simply legal. We also need to consider what is right. We need to consider what is the most loving way to love our neighbor, God's faithful call to love our neighbors, and also what precautions we need to take as a congregation in order to be able to come together safely. And so I'm not going to tell you that we are definitely going to be together worshiping next Sunday in the historic church. In fact, I think that is unlikely since there are specific protocols that we need to put into place, including a really detailed cleaning plan that will have to happen each week. So as I mentioned in the email that I sent out on Friday, the church council is meeting on Tuesday night to discuss the best way for us to reopen the church building safely. So that may not be next Sunday, or it may not be for several weeks. We know that some of you are anxious to get back, and that's understandable, while others are anxious about coming back anytime soon. So whatever is decided, the plan is to continue live streaming worship for the foreseeable future so that we will have both options once we do decide to begin in-person worship once again. But regardless of what happens with worshiping in our building, we have never stopped being the church. We have continued to gather as a community of faith through online worship like we're doing today. We've met for Bible study. We've offered nightly devotions. We've held confirmation classes. We've surrounded our young people with love through text messages and video messages, at-home packets and birthday wishes. We've continued to feed the hungry in our community on a weekly basis like we did yesterday, and it's a need that grows weekly. And we have prayed for one another. In many ways, by not being in the building, we have had to figure out how to be the church, and we have. Next Sunday, we will celebrate the day of Pentecost, the day when the Holy Spirit blew through the locked doors of the upper room and where the disciples were hiding out and sent them out, spilling out into the streets to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. The Holy Spirit is still sending us out into the streets of our community to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. No building required. So we will listen to where the wind of the Spirit is blowing and discern God's will for us at this time. Thank you for your continued faithfulness in being the church. So now let us be the church together as we gather in worship with our Lutheran siblings around the Minneapolis area synod. There will be a watch party starting in Facebook in just a moment with the pre-recorded worship service with our bishop and other staff from the Minneapolis synod. You can also find it on YouTube, and the links are in the description here for this post. So I'm looking forward to worshiping with you. I get to participate today. Jeff and I will be on our couches along with you, singing along and participating in worship. And so I hope that this is a meaningful time for you. So thank you for joining us this morning and being a part of worship. I look forward to seeing you in person soon. Take care.